All righty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Connect Legal and Human Resources Tech, the event that brings together startups innovating in legal and HR spaces with leading journalists from around the globe. My name is Jim Glade, and I'm a partner at Publicize, which is a PR firm for growth, and a managing editor at Espacio, a media incubator based in Medellin, Colombia. We're really pleased to be joined today by a host of leading journalists who report on the fields of technology, business, and entrepreneurship from around the globe. We're equally privileged to host 7 of the most exciting legal and HR startups as they pitch their ventures in front of these distinguished media judges. Before we begin, I want to mention that if any startups have any questions regarding PR, feel free to reach out to myself. You can contact me at jim@publicize.co or info@publicize.co. We have a lot of startups to get through today, so without any further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce the media judges. Judges, when I introduce you, if you wouldn't mind coming on saying hello so we can put a face to a bio, that'd be great. First off, we have Ivan Mehta, who is a technology reporter for The Next Web, a leading technology news publications and an event company owned by the Financial Times. Ivan covers a host of areas for The Next Web, including artificial intelligence, internet culture, security, big tech, and India's entrepreneurial ecosystem. Before joining The Next Web, Ivan was a technology reporter for the Huffington Post. Ivan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. Next up, we're also excited to have Esther Poeta, who is a senior video journalist at Univision, the United States' first Spanish language TV news channel and still one of its largest. Currently based in Miami, Esther has worked in Univision's Mexico Bureau, in Uruguay, as well as in Uruguay for Agence France Presse, as well as for Thomson Reuters in Spain. Esther currently serves as vice president for the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, the South Florida chapter. Esther, it's really a pleasure to host you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. On the other side of the continent, based in San Francisco, we have Michael Ledke. He is a business and technology reporter for the Associated Press, the largest news agency in the United States, with 248 news bureaus across 99 countries. With over 35 years in the business, 22 of that spent at the AP, Michael has spent the better part of his professional career documenting the evolution of the tech industry in Silicon Valley, covering everything from the rebound of internet stocks after the dot-com boom, all the way up to the trial of Elizabeth Holmes. He primarily writes about big corporations, but still keeps his ear to the ground for interesting startups. So we're really pleased to have him here today. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Next up, again on the East Coast, we have Emma Silikins, who is the co-creator and senior producer of In Machines We Trust, an award-winning podcast from the MIT Technology Review that examines the automation of everything. Emma began her career in Australia as a senior journalist and editor at Fairfax Media, which owned the Sydney Morning Herald, The Age, among many other publications. She's worked as a producer and radio host for a number of media outlets, including the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, the Wall Street Journal, Barron's, WNYC Radio in New York, and ProPublica. At the last place where she and her team won a Peabody, a Polk, and a Goldsmith Award for their series on maternal mortality. Emma also currently consults with businesses and news organizations about best practices for storytelling, podcasting, public speaking, and presentation skills. Emma, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. Next up, Sarub Kumar is currently heading operations for in India for Entrepreneur Magazine, the flagship publication covering business from the Entrepreneur Media Group. He leads a team of special correspondents, social media executives, and video producers reporting from the Asia Pacific region. Prior to joining Entrepreneur, Saurabh was an editor at the Financial Express, which is one of India's largest business news outlets, as well as Mint Money, NDTV, and the Deccan Chronicle, among others. Saurabh, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Jim. Same here.
Thank you. John Gelberg is an executive editor for content strategies at Inc. magazine, one of the leading business news properties in the world. He heads Inc. Studio, the in-house content creation department for the publication that works with advertisers from leading companies to develop meaningful, engaging, entertaining, and actionable content. As an expert in public relations, content marketing, and social media, over the years, John has been interviewed and profiled for publications including the New York Times, Chief Content Officer magazine, and Contently. In his other life, John's a stand-up comedian and performs regularly around New York City. So, John, no pressure today, but if you wanted to tell a joke or two, we'd be happy to oblige. So, yeah, thanks for joining us.
No, I promise to behave, and all I do on stage is bitch and complain about getting old. So we don't need that for this forum.
Hey, it's relatable, man. It's relatable.
You have no idea.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now we have actually a colleague of Ivan's, Luke Gilmore, is a senior innovation program manager at the NextWeb, a Financial Times company. The NextWeb programs connect startups, investors, corporations, and governments from around the world to spark collaborative innovation. And they've worked for leading corporations, including ING, Accenture, Deloitte, Vodafone. Luke also manages Tech5, which is a community of top scale-ups in Europe, which is collated by the NextWeb. So Luke, thanks so much for joining us today too.
Thanks, Jim. Looking forward to the pictures.
Awesome. And finally with us, we have Stefano De Marzo, who's the editor of Novo Brief, the largest English language news outlet covering the technology and startup scene in Spain. Based in Barcelona, but originally from Lima, Peru, Stefano has written for a number of leading Latin American publications, including Gestión, which is Peru's largest newspaper, where he covered health, banking, and the automotive sectors during his tenure. His most recent work has featured interviews with the Spanish CEO of Gorillas, which is a unicorn delivery app in Europe, as well as top investors in Peru. So Stefano, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thanks, Jim. Excited to be here.
It's good to have you back. All right. Well, we're seriously honored to have everybody with us today and taking time out of their busy schedules. And we really look forward to your valuable insights as well. So thanks again, media judges, for being here. Let's go ahead and begin the competition, shall we? I'll go ahead and bring startups on stage in the presenter role, and they'll share their screens. And then you'll pitch for 2 minutes, and I will be timing you. So after each pitch, we'll open up for a little bit of comments and questions from the media panel, and then we'll bring on the next startup. To start us off today, we have Aidis Kavalis, who is the co-founder of Amberlo. Aidis, forgive me if I'm butchering your name a little bit, but thank you so much for joining us, and let me go ahead and bring you on in the co-host role so you can share your screen.
Jim, thanks for having me, and your pronunciation is perfect, actually. So,
fantastic.
Just give me a sec. I'll share my screen, and I hope you can see it.
Yes, sir. I can see it, and I can hear you clearly too. So whenever you're ready,
right.
You can begin, and I'll start the timer.
So I'm ready, and hello once again. I'm Aidis from Amberlo, and we built a lawyer-friendly law firm management software that's used in more than 40 countries, starting from sole lawyers to legal 500 firms. And we solve a lack of modern legal tech in non-English speaking markets. And we experienced founders who used to build software that does the job and delivers enormous value. And that's why our clients report up to 30% revenue increase after they switch to Amberlo. And also the timing is right for cloud-based software because the cloud transformation is happening right now, because most law firms not there yet. And we see a huge potential, and we are going after a large market, and we have good arguments, let's say, how to get there. and we have an outstanding team with years of international experience, and we started building cloud even before the term was invented. And our team members are located in different countries, and actually our recent office was opened in Lima in Peru, and we're focusing on Latin a lot. So the lack of modern legal tech results in suboptimal processes and in a low efficiency, and we solve that with our all-in-one software that replaces multiple general purpose tools, and that's very easy to consume. It covers the process from client intake to the final payment collection, provides 360-degree view on the law firm, enables data-driven decision that drives the revenue up. And lawyers understand and love what we have built. Talking about the competition, we do have global and local competitors, but Amber Law actually has a unique position because we combine world-class service with the localization that lawyers need on the spot. And talking about the local competitors, actually most of the local competitors, they're quite ancient, while Amber Law is very modern, and you can sign up and start using it in no time. And everything what we provide is included in the price, so there are no hidden fees, and we put a lot of focus on the security. And we are bringing AI-driven automation that will bring productivity to the next level this year. So we think it's time to change the way the law was practiced the last 100 years. If you agree with that, join us. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you for your attention.
And time. All right. Aidis, thank you so much for that. I know it was a lot to pack into 2 minutes, so I'm sure there are going to be questions from the media judges. So we'll hop right in. Judges, feel free to hop right in, raise your hand. There's no cordial, just hop right in. Go ahead. Esther, please.
Hi, you mentioned the security, but since many of the documents that you will be covering are confidential, I was wondering if you can explain a little bit more about the security.
Well, we are ISO certified, so we have state-of-the-art processes and many best practices, which, for example, ensure that our development team has no reach to the productive environments. And we are using the best cloud infrastructure from Amazon, which is a worldwide leader. And we employ a number of specific cybersecurity tools that ensure 24/7 monitoring of the systems. And so these are usually measures used by financial services companies, and actually I used to work in the financial services field for years, and we employ similar practices that, for example, banks are employing when they provide e-banking platforms.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Aidis?
I have a question.
Please.
So if I understand, this is a product you're selling just directly to law firms, right? I'm
Yes.
curious, you don't have anything for do-it-yourself for consumers, like for basic legal needs, like some of in the United States we have some of those, but you're not trying to develop any product for direct consumer use.
Well, actually, we have a long roadmap, and in the future we are planning to expand the platform. And our ultimate vision is to connect the complete ecosystem, so that everyone, I mean, lawyers, judges, clients, would be connected, and they could seamlessly collaborate, get self-service, get insights, and so that's the ultimate vision, but it will take some time to get there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Can you speak a little bit to pricing?
Yeah. Was the question about pricing?
Pricing, yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so our pricing currently is from 25 to 40 euro, or like $45. per user per month, which is very affordable.
Can I
Hey,
jump in? I feel like you
sorry.
threw us a lot of information in 2 minutes, and it's always
Yeah.
challenging to try and give, a nut graph or give this much information to us. Can you peel it back a little bit for us and just let us know exactly why legal firms need this type of technology? Like, what is it, and what is it that you do differently to others out there? Because but yeah, I felt like there was a lot of information hitting me, and I really want to understand deeply, what it is that you do and why it's different, and why lawyers and legal firms sort of need your products.
Yeah, so actually there are like several key areas where lawyers are losing money. And the first one is planning. You might be surprised, but many law firms, they do not have like a centralized planning system in place. And I'm not even talking about the project management tools, and actually lawyers are doing quite complex projects. The second area is time tracking. Many law firms, they're still relying on Excel sheets, and time tracking is the most hated job the lawyers need to do, and they tend to postpone it to as late as possible, and in the result they lose 10 to 20% of billable time just because of that. The next area is when you are using lots of general purpose tools, you do not. I mean, it's very difficult to get the data, and it's very difficult to understand what actually works and what not. So therefore, very often there is like false feeling that everything is going well in a certain direction, while the data shows that it does. It does not, and when you have the ability to collect high quality data and also to easily consume it, then you start relying on the data and not on your, let's say, gut feeling. And this is like, for example, then you might see that this client is not performing while the other client is, or the practice area, and so on. So there is actually no rocket science. We do quite basic things, but actually what we managed to do, we managed to pack it in a extremely easy to consume package, which on the other hand is quite sophisticated when it comes to specific features.
Hey, I want to ask a question. You in your pitch, you also mentioned while a lot of it was centered around law firms. You also mentioned that solo lawyers also use this product. What's the benefit from them? I mean, they don't really need central tracking, right? Like they can save money and use an Excel sheet or even a cheap.
Well, actually, what the Excel sheet cannot do, and what we can. So in Amberlo, you can just press a button and get your bills correctly, automatically generated according to the agreements which you have made with all your clients, and you cannot get this from the Excel sheet. And this is just a click of a button. So I mean, just if like that would be a very quick explanation.
I just wanted to ask, if I missed it, I'm not sure, two things. One is, did I miss your TAM first? And second, you spoke about non-English speaking users. So can you explain a little bit more?
Actually, I didn't hear it.
The first
clear.
part of my question was, I don't know if I missed, but I didn't see TAM in your presentation, the total addressable market. And
Total
the second,
addressable market.
Yeah, and the second was you spoke about non-English speaking population. So if you can explain a little bit what you really propose there.
Yeah, so the total addressable market, there are like more than 5 million users in non-English speaking markets for the software like ours, and if let's say why we are focusing on non-English speaking markets, because like over 90% of the legal tech is in US, and it's highly competitive market on one hand. On the other hand, what we see that our US competitors, they have like extreme challenges entering non-English speaking markets due to several factors, which we address with AMBER. So the first factor is localization. It's not only the interface, but it's also the data that you need to localize, and you need to have specific know-how how to do it. And the second factor are different local regulations. And let's say you need to have this built in the very basics. And this is what is missing in US products, and that's why let's say, and on the other hand, I think also there is maybe not enough motivation because US market is like enormous, and then like it's, you know, you can compare it to everything else, like to all like it has the size of all the other markets combined, and I think. So these are the reasons why there is this gap, and we saw how we can solve it, and we did it successfully, and we are servicing all those clients, and they're very loyal. They stay with us. We have positive net retention, and we are growing.
Fantastic. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Stefano. I think we have time for one more question. Go ahead.
For what type of law firms would you say Amber Law is ideal? I mean, small law firms, medium-sized, large ones, because I'm sure.
Yeah. So we are focusing on small and medium-sized law firms, and we have law firms, let's say, up to 100 employees at the moment, and our sweet spot is 10 to 25 because these are already pretty large and neat processes. On the other hand, they are quite compact and can make decisions rather fast. So, but we are not targeting like top law firms because there is just another level of sophistication that we cannot offer at the moment.
Awesome. Aidis, thank you so much.
I know we don't have much time for questions, but I don't feel like we went deep enough into the business model, and you're asking us to kind of give feedback on that. I know that money's coming in. You've talked about the amount of money coming in and also the amount of potential business out there. But what is your actual business model? Where are you getting? Is it just the funding from law firms, or are there other areas that you're pulling funds for the business?
We are VC funded. We have 4 funds on board at the moment, and we did seed around last year. Now we're raising again, and beginning of next year we will do Series A. So this is the main source of money, and of course we generate revenues as well. We are a classical B2B SaaS business. So our clients pay monthly fees, and there are no other sources of income. So we do not charge for any other services or custom development. So it's just the monthly fee.
Great, thanks. I'm clear.
Perfect. Aidis, thank you so much. Great presentation, and congrats on everything you've built so far. We'll go ahead we'll go ahead and we'll bring on our next presenter, Julie Fry, the co-founder of Gentreo. Julie, give me 1 second and I'll give you the speaker role. All right, so you should be able to present your screen, Julie.
We're in the process of sharing.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
see
Okay,
that?
I see. Yeah, and you got your sister there too. So awesome.
Yeah, so I'm Julie and this is Renee. You ready?
Ready when you are.
So I am Renee Fry, my sister Julie Fry. We're the founders of Gentrio. And our parents paid $10,000 to do estate planning. And there didn't really seem to be anything special about that. And everything seemed one and done. So when we left, we decided we needed to fix that. So we created Gentrio to introduce next generation estate planning. And it's to make it a lifelong partnership. Right now, estate planning is more important now than ever before. We're in the midst of the largest wealth transfer in history, but yet less than 20% of people actually have an estate plan in place. If you don't have an estate plan, there are huge and dire consequences, including losing up to 3 to 8% of the estate's value and for taking years to close. But most importantly, not only do you lose your assets, but you lose your choices. You lose the ability to say who takes care of your children, your pets, your donations. And instead of being able to help your family's ending up in court and the courts are making the decisions. Yeah, so with Gentrio, this is where we wanted to make it affordable so that everyone could do estate planning. The analogy we often use is TurboTax. So TurboTax worked with taking over what accountants do. And so this is where estate planning fits in. Right now, we have everything from state-specific wills, powers of attorney, healthcare, living trust, and it's all available and across all 50 states. It's live today, and a digital vault as well to save and share those documents and other important information. So we have coaches that help people also and help with the emotional aspects. It's one of those things where people needed places to call, people to talk to, and they can't give legal advice. But if extra legal advice is needed, we do have lawyer partners across 50 states. Most importantly, though, we have cool tools like instant access share buttons when emergencies happen. It's getting those documents, getting the information, and making sure you can use it. Like Renee said, it's not just about the one and done creating the documents, which we do. It's about making sure that as your life changes, that you're able to actually update your estate plan. For example, I got diagnosed with cancer, and all of a sudden the decisions that I had made before on my healthcare proxy needed to change. Gentrio lets you do that as part of the software package itself. And we're almost done, but really this is a huge emotional problem. So happy to talk in the discussion about all these emotions that people have. And really this is a new way to deal with not just the legal aspects, but the emotional and the legal aspects. We are a women-owned business. We have 3 women founders and we have been globally recognized, but really what we're out to do is forever change how people do estate planning. We do B2B, we work with lots of employers, we work with credit unions and banks, and we're making money today. And we'll finish there.
Awesome. Julie, Renee, thank you very much for that great presentation. Congrats on what you're building as well. We'll go ahead and open up for the media panel.
Hey, I have a question. So, estate planning is something very personal, and how have you thought about servicing whoever comes to your platform? Because I understand that it's a click of the button and everything, but still, estate planning is something very close to your heart. So they would want someone to really negotiate, really talk to you one-on-one and understand what the problems are or how you're going to solve it. So how would you address the post once someone signs up or comes to your platform? How would you address their queries, and how would you make them feel warm? In terms of
So we actually do this on a twofold approach. Number one, the software itself is actually built to guide people and educate people throughout the entire process. So it's not just jumping in and filling out the TurboTax form and being done. It's actually educating and supporting them along the way. What kind of decisions do you need to make? How do you prepare your family in an emergency? How do you create that one home so that everybody knows what your decisions are and they have those legal documents and documents aren't lost? And so we educate them along the way. And then in addition, we have those emotional tools, like what is your legacy? Do you want to leave a message to your loved ones? Do you need help with funeral planning, etc.? And we have that Gentrio coach. As Renee said, we aren't a law firm, so we don't give specific legal advice, but our Gentrio coaches can actually guide people through what their specific situation is. So it starts with our AI, identifying what their specific situation is. And then we give them those educational tools to move them along the process so that they're creating those legal documents. But then not only that, but that they're addressing how they're preparing themselves and their family for estate plans.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I had a question which was similar to the one put to the last picture. Can you walk us through a little bit of your business model?
Yep. So primarily what we do is we work with a B2B marketplace. If you came to gentrio.com today, you could create your own estate plan. But typically what we do is we work with employers. So as part of employee benefit packages. And we also work with credit unions and banks. So for instance, the MIT Credit Union here in Cambridge, I see the MIT Tech Review, they're a partner of ours. And so they buy it for certain folks in like their insurance products to wrap that into it. They also have it as a benefit to their employees. And then they do a model where they do a rev share to their customers with us, where they market it out to their customers that if it weren't built into a loan product. The exciting thing for us is the fact that we make it affordable. As Renee said, we paid 10 grand. Not everybody can do that. We make it so it starts at $100 the first year, $50 the years after that. And it's a subscription model because, again, we're that lifelong partner versus that one and done. Not only that, but you can come in and you can create all of your documents, whether you want to come in and just create your will or your healthcare proxy or that digital vault for your family or everything. All the documents are included for that one yearly price. Like recently, my parents had to update their healthcare proxy and it was $250. And we're like, okay, this is why you need to be a Gentrio member. But sorry, go ahead, Emma.
Yeah, sorry. Your sound actually keeps jumping in and jumping out. That's why I keep.
Oh, sorry.
I work in audio, so I'm always like, oh, sound. Yeah, so just tuning in. In terms of the business model itself and the subscription base, you said I think it was $100 the first year, then it drops back to $50 thereafter. What is the reason why they continue to be members once they've got their forms and it's all done and dusted? Would they not just grab the forms and then re-engage along at a later point, maybe 10 years from now when their situation changes? How do you keep them paying that each year on year?
Yeah, so this is where the next generation estate planning comes in, and it's tools like the instant access button, so that when emergencies happen, like for instance, my dad, or our dad, had 7 strokes along the way, and each time my mom would call and she was crying and didn't know what to do. And so it was, okay, you can hit this button now and you get his healthcare proxy, you get his medication list, you get his doctor's information. And so what Gentrio really does is not just so you make the documents, stick them in a drawer and never to be found, but because so many of us have lived through COVID and things like that, where we need these documents, we need to keep them updated. And especially so many families aren't living next door to each other anymore. When you need that information, now Gentrio is that easy place where you can click a button and you get all the information that you need at one time. And we also are continuously introducing new products and services that really make sure that Gentrio is the one place you can come that creates that home for you to be able to care for yourself. And Gentrio means 3 generations. Like I have a 10-year-old son, aging parents, and so Gentrio becomes that one place to go to.
I have a quick question. Just to follow up on others, how long have you guys been around and how many employers do you have on board with your platform? How many are using it?
Yeah, so this is where really exciting. So 3.5 years is what we've been around. And then we just did some great partnerships with benefit provider companies. And so they've been bringing on multiple different companies for us. So one of the partnerships that we have, for instance, they're rolling us out to probably about 500 companies to start, and then across to 1,000. And then through the credit unions, we've partnered with all the credit union leagues in New England. So for instance, the Vermont Credit Union League, the Massachusetts Credit Union, CCUA is what it's called. And so this is where we're really excited about the growth in that, because when we had 2 credit unions sign up on Friday last week, and they're buying it for all their members. And so this is for us really exciting, because on the scale, we really worked hard on the back end to make sure that we can scale. And so that's been a great partnership for helping us add members. And then we also see a nice multiplier effect. We see about a little over 3 if someone joins Gentrio. And this is why we still do the B2C part, is that their family, then they have access to their documents now if the user chooses to give folks access to documents or important information. But what we're finding is that then people are like, you know what, I need to do my estate planning too, and I haven't done this. So we have usually about 3 people they share information with, and we grow nicely from that sharing as well.
So is your brand kind of behind, do people see it once they go on board? I mean, or is it up to the employers or the benefit people to say, like, I mean, do they present it as their own, or do they let you, share your brand? This is a platform developed by you.
So we primarily actually share, it's our brand because of the liability. So we send them to a co-branded landing page, which talks about their membership benefits or the employee benefits, and really identifies exactly what our partnership entails. Once they actually go onto Gentrio, it's primarily a Gentrio branded experience for the liability reasons and security reasons.
Do you have any plans to do? You mentioned TurboTax, which you can find in Costco and all kinds of stores. You have any kind of plans to package your software and or is it just going to be strictly online, or are you going to try to have a physical presence too, where people can buy it or see it, or like?
Yeah. So right now it's all online, but we would definitely love that someday, and we'd like to find the right partners to be able to work on that. Because right now what we have is that we have that nice multiplier effect, and so I think that's an option we'd like to talk about with some of the folks that you're thinking about too.
Yeah, getting back to TurboTax for a second. When I think of TurboTax, it's very much out of the box. It's all formalized. It's not very individualized. Yet you're talking a great deal about how you can individualize your services. Why did you choose TurboTax as your comparison?
So I think TurboTax, that was where people used to think, oh, I have to pay I used to pay like $450 a year to go to my accountant. And then I realized I could go in and fill out my own information and make my own choices through TurboTax. And so I was always clicking on the learning parts too, because I wanted to make sure I was always optimizing how much money I was getting back. Thankfully, my husband let me do that. But so with the reason we used it is that when we tell people, we're like, okay, I can fill out my own information. I can stop, I can think, I can go back, I can make changes, I can update that. That was really the analogy that people were like, oh, I've seen something like this before, because so many people we knew hadn't done estate planning, and they thought estate planning was just for the really wealthy. And they're like, oh, I don't need that. We're like, yes, you do. Yes. And so when we worked with our lawyers to develop the product, they used internal software themselves that helps fill out people's wills and things like that for them. Most people don't know they're using software, but that's what they do. And so we had to take that from how do we personalize that and help people understand now how they can do it themselves and work that in. And so TurboTax is the analogy that clicked for folks.
I'm interested in how you protect information. You touched very briefly on security. I think you mentioned the word, but how people are pumping in some of their most valuable information.
So we have, security is one of our paramount features, and something we strive and spend a lot of time working on. Number one, we are actually built on what we call bank level security. We're in the process of our SOC 2. Number two, the users own the information. We don't sell the information, and they choose who to share what information with. And number three, they actually get to control it so that if they want to revoke permissions, or if they want to change who they share that information with, the user controls that information. And that's a really unique part about Gentrio, is that you have to invite someone to your team, and what you're doing is giving them access to the latest document or information you have up. And so it's not that you're just getting a document, emailing it out to whoever you want, but you're understanding who you've invited to your team. Have they accepted your invitation? Do you still want that person to be part of your team? And we do an annual update review for folks to say, okay, here are all the things that you have in your vault. Here's who's part of your team. Are there any changes you need to make in your life? Because one of the things too around the question before, you put your will in your drawer and you look at it 10 years later. Well, if you have a new baby, right? Or if you're divorced, or if you have new assets, these are things that you do need to be able to change, and why people need to be coming in and making sure that they're updating all of their documents and sharing those documents with people that are relevant to them at the time in their lives that they're doing everything.
Have you ever had to deal with being hacked or anything like that so far?
Being hacked? No, thank God. So we actually have a security team that we work with, and we have an outside team that we work with as well, to just make sure that we are continually following the latest protocol. And so we've been very fortunate. And we continually work to make sure that all of our data is secured.
In your deck, you also mentioned managing digital assets. Can you explain a bit what that includes and what are your plans regarding that?
So for digital assets, what we do is we help everybody, we actually ask, like, we list out things for you that you might want to save. Like, we suggest to people, like, do you want to save Facebook, Instagram, these things, because no one can ever think of all the things they should be saving. But then what we do is we are able to help them take an inventory of their digital assets. It also hides their information in there until, like, they're willing to share that information with someone so that people can't randomly see that if they're working on it, right? And then also, this is where, from crypto and NFTs and things like that, we help you tell people where you're going to leave those things or where they might be able to find them, because anything you upload, right, if someone gets that code or something, all of a sudden they can make it theirs. And so we actually have experts on our team in digital, so that those digital assets are something that we help you make sure you're saving the right information in the right place and sharing with only the people that you want to share that with. And you can always revoke that access, because that's a whole brave new world. And we found that making sure we're experts in that is something that helps us stand out.
So just a quick follow-up to that. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, and a lot of platforms have one memorialization and nominees. So do you include that, or this is just like a secure password sharing service where you upload all the data of your keys and passwords and secure credentials of the digital assets, and your family members or friends or whoever you want to share it with can get?
Right now, it's a bit both. So there is the digital vault aspect where we actually get to store and share your information. But then as well, again, this is where the coaches come into play. We actually help people use the information. So it's not just about creating like a will, for instance, or that digital vault. It's about using it. So internally, we call it the death protocol. So when someone does pass away, our Gentrio coach can actually help walk you through and point you towards all the educational resources we have. Like, for instance, how do you access the Facebook memorial section? How do you close accounts? How do you do XYZ? The coaches can actually walk you through and guide you towards information, so that it's more than just, here's the vault. It's actually walking you through the process. And that's what we really focus as our next generation, because it's not just about only storing the information, it's about using it.
Fantastic. Julie, Renee, thank you so much. Congrats on everything. Yeah, a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have thought about, closing Facebook accounts for a family member or something like that. So very cool. And congrats again. We'll go ahead. I want to be very conscious of the time. So we'll go ahead and bring on our next presenter. Suravija Gopani is the co-founder and chief marketing and product officer of Interviewer AI. We'll go ahead and bring you on. Give me 1 second and I'll pass you the presenter role.
Thank you, Jim.
My pleasure. Sorry, here we go. Alrighty. This sounds good. And I think you might, can you speak again? I think you're a little soft, but that could be my volume too.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that sounds good. Are you, Emma's shaking no.
It's not very loud. It's not very loud.
I know it's super late at night there, so I might not want to wake up family members, but.
Okay, I'll try to speak a little louder. Is this better?
Yeah, and maybe even put in the microphone a little bit closer.
So yeah, okay. Hope this works.
I think that gets better for me. I think
sometimes you're actually better off pulling out the headphones and just speaking directly into the device, if that's useful, if you're able to where you are. If you're not, totally understand it. But yeah, audio wise, that's pretty low.
Oh, okay. I'll try to speak a little louder, and then if not, then maybe I'll address some of them in the questions, if that's okay.
Sounds good. Well, we're ready for you. And whenever you're ready, please feel free to start.
Okay, I'm ready, Jim. Thank you. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm here to talk about Interview.ai. In a very short way, we're talking about a smart video recruiter. What is the problem statement we're trying to address? So the way we hire has changed forever across the world. There's been a lot of mobility of talent. There's a lot of remote hiring, hybrid hiring. Candidate experience has become an important, and this has become a pain point for hiring managers, and hiring quickly has also become very important. What do we want to do? So we want to reduce the time spent on resume screening. So that way you get a lot of applications, but you want to make sure that you focus on the top candidates, help you shortlist better and hire faster. So solution is a combination of resume scoring, work map, and a video interview that our company provides. Why now? I think this has been one of the key challenges that most HR highlighted, and there is an increase in, like I said, there's a complexity of roles. What is our vision? Our vision is to be the pre-screening video interview platform of choice, which means that we want you to spend less time pre-screening hundreds of applications, but focus on how do you shortlist the best. So that's where Interviewer.ai comes in. This is what a quick snapshot of our platform looks like, where you create an interview. You can actually share it across sources, invite applications, just like you would do across job boards. But what we do is have a combination of your resume for the candidate, a work map assessment that you can set as a hiring manager, and a one-way video interview questions that you could set. So you could a combination of that as a score, and you can pick the top candidates you want to talk to first. Where we are right now from a product perspective is what I spoke about. Our core focus is the first one, where we have the online recruitment product, where we focus on small businesses to help them hire better. We also have an online coaching product where users have been using our products specifically for coaching or even admissions. And a third future idea that we have is for even getting insights for candidates to use our platform. Our TAM is largely global small business. We're looking at this specifically as small to mid-size companies. This is the traction so far. We've actually got a good combination of universities that already use our product and also businesses. This is a quick snapshot of the market. 45% presence in the US market and spread across the globe. And this is an interesting stat. We actually have hires that have happened through our platform, and there've been a combination of customer-facing roles plus different types of roles that have been hired using Interview.ai. And in a snapshot, if I were to leave you with one line, would say spend 3 minutes here before you spend 30 minutes on a virtual interview. And that's what we would love our pitch to be to businesses as well. Thank you.
All right, Srividya, thank you so much. Great presentation. I'll go ahead and open up for questions from the media judges.
Hey, Srividya, can you tell us about your competition? Because I think there are already people who are in the similar space, if not exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, sure. So a couple of competitors that I would highlight. For example, there's My Interview. I think there's HireVue. There's Clovers as well in the US. I think the model for all of them, not necessarily exactly. For some cases, they are two-way interview, for example. In our case, what we're saying is that we're specifically focused on the pre-screen platform and that stage of the interview process. So it actually simplifies, like we're saying, this is the specific stage we're looking at. And it's also an asynchronous video interview. So there are similar platforms, but I think, and you're right, there is a market where there are more. But the idea is that we're very focused on one particular stage, and hence the asynchronous video interview is the solution that we're offering.
Just a quick question on competitors. I feel like these days there are a lot of competitors in this space. We've done a 4-part investigation. From memory, it was 4 parts into hiring and artificial intelligence. And there's quite a few out there. What are you offering that's like different to say HireVue or other products that are out there in the marketplace right now when it comes to AI in this video process? And can you also outline exactly like what yours does that perhaps others don't in the space? I feel like it's growing. It's a new-ish phenomenon, but that there's certainly, it is becoming more crowded.
Yes, for sure. Thank you for asking that. So what we use is called the explainable AI model versus the black box, where a lot of the information, for example, the more the candidates actually use the platform, and they're also very much more with the candidate information, and the candidates own that data, for example. So what our model is that we're very open about that. We're also trying to make sure that the AI is simple enough for hiring managers to understand. Say, what are you being scored for? So each of those stages, so for example, as a hiring manager, I will set that I want a resume or a LinkedIn profile added. The work map assessment, for example, we're opening that up to say, do you want to add it? Do you want to remove it? And the video interview questions, we're also allowing the ability for them to actually that, and also the scores, the candidates can actually view how they did in the video interview themselves. So they could actually get a score themselves. So it's not something that's hidden. Also, another bit that we're trying to do is we're also focused on some of those are, for example, communication skills, especially in a remote or a hybrid hiring environment, that we're simplifying it. We're not saying that we're going to do this for, tech assessments. That could be a part of this, but we're not saying that we're adding all the other elements. We're simplifying it to say that this is where you have 100 applications. We want all of them to have an opportunity to apply. So it's literally like a first step. And then we're saying that you choose out of the 100, all 100 scores will come to you. And as a hiring manager, you pick the top 3 that you want to talk to. So I think we're simplifying by saying that we're focused on that stage versus adding it, or we're not focused on integrating with ATSs, et cetera. So we're focused largely on the pre-screen stage at this point.
Do you pump the information in that? Do you train the algorithm, or do with the information that goes in, is it the employer that tells it what to look for and what they want in their interview talent, or is it you that does that? Like, how does that process work?
Srivijay, you still there? We might have lost Srivijay for a second.
Yeah, I'm just not clear on the difference. So like, there's a lot of products out there that there's huge issues in this field right now around like bias and explainability, and a lot of these algorithms like go out, and in our investigation we found that oftentimes if your name is Jared or you play lacrosse, you're more likely to get a job than for example someone else. Some of them are biased against women. So I'm interested in that, if we're able to hear from the presenter around like how are they combating some of those issues that exist in the industry right now as it is in terms of bias.
100%. We'll wait just a second to see if Srivijay can reconnect. Also, Emma, I think you'd be really good for a big data connect event that we'll be holding within the next couple of weeks as well. I think that's a huge thing that always comes up when we're talking about AI, is obviously the inherent bias within them. So great question for sure. We'll give just a second or two to see if Srivijay can reconnect, and if not, we'll kind of move on as well.
Yeah, I'll just throw in one bit. Again, this is an incredibly crowded field, and they're offering no testimonials, which can be powerful in this. But I'm not getting any kind of a differentiator, against much more funded competitors.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting at the moment as well. Around like, well, I guess HireVue is probably the one that I think of most when I think of video.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that if you have.
Sorry, but.
All right, we have Srivijay back.
Sorry about that.
No worries, Srivijay. Actually, we have just 2 follow-up questions from Emma and then from John as well. So maybe Emma, if you could repeat yours, and John will bring you back on and repeat yours too.
Yeah, so you talked about the black box and giving people an idea of what was in the black box, but I'm interested in who is able to feed information in to train that algorithm that you have there, and how do you avoid bias happening? For example, an investigation that we did uncovered that if your name is Jared or if you play lacrosse, you are more likely in some cases to get a job than other people. So I'm interested in both the bias side and how you cater to that inherent bias that sometimes exists. And then I'm also interested in who chooses what information is put in to then choose candidates or to look at candidates. So is it the employer that's putting those in there, or is your company guiding them in that regard? Mostly around bias is what I'm interested in.
Sure. So actually, this was built, our company's about 3.5 years old, and I think when we started, the idea was to reduce bias, and that was part of why we've been focused on the explainable AI aspect. And we also have engineers and data scientists actually working on, especially from like I said, if you're focused on communication skills, we're looking at making sure that there's speech to text, there is enough guidance given to the candidates saying that make sure that your background is clear. So you're giving an equal opportunity as much as possible within the platform. There's also an opportunity to say, hey, you want to submit this video, you want to retake it. So there's a lot of work that's being done within from a tech perspective to make sure that the opportunity is equal. And that's what the company from our end we're doing from an AI perspective. Like, how can the AI be far more equal across candidates, their recording flow? How can you improve it? What suggestions could you give, especially to reduce bias? That was one. On the second part, from an employer perspective, so the way we look at it is we have a lot of existing, for example, if you're looking for a sales role, there are certain types of questions that usually get asked. So we do have those templates that exist. So we actually have that within that. So if I were a hiring manager, I could choose that. So if it says, for example, if I'm looking for a sales leader, am I looking at their ability to coach, team skills? So there are some of those standard templates that we have, which employers could use, but they could also upload their own questions that that are specific to companies. So it's a combination of both, but we do have set templates that we help hiring managers use.
Okay, and then when it comes to the voices and the presence of the person, what are you actually assessing that interview on? Because we did an investigation into some of these softwares that are out there, and we found no difference in the results between someone that was speaking like Mandarin Chinese or German and English when the interview was actually in English. So what type of language processing or what type of backend are you using to actually give results to the employer on how well candidates did in this interview?
Sure. So they used three aspects. So for example, one is matching the resume to a JD that the employer uploads. So there's a combination of factors that's mentioned on the resume. Second is the observable traits that obviously come, which is from a body language perspective, speaking, which is coming from the video aspect of it. Success factors, which we've, I think, identified into simpler communication skills, which is like professionalism, sociability, and a few others. There are 4 of them. These are standard that are used from a, how do you look at communication, which is a huge part of the initial screening process. So combination of these is what the score gives to say that how does the person do across this, and that allows the candidates to be stack ranked for that particular role. So for example, I might do well on one. I might score well on one. I may not score well on another. So it allows me as a candidate to have an opportunity to say that maybe I'm better suited for this role versus another. But that score is presented for that particular job role to the hiring manager, if that helps you.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly answer my question, but that's okay. I think I've got enough there to make an assessment. Thank you.
Thanks, Emma. I think, John, you had another question as well.
John, mate, you're on mute.
This is not the first time this has happened in the 2.5 years of Zoom, but it's and it won't be the last. My question is, you're in a really crowded space, and as a marketer myself, one of the big differentiators we use are testimonials. Because it seems you're doing not everything, but a lot of what other big companies are doing. Do you have the power of those kinds of testimonials, and are you using those in your marketing?
Yes. In fact, that's a huge focus. In fact, in the last 3 months, we're actively focused on the customer testimonials bit. In fact, some of the customers that we highlighted. So we have Trade Desk as one of our customers, and we're working on them, and their testimonial that we want to actively talk about. On the university side, where I said we have a lot of universities that have used us as a coaching platform, so we're using that definitely to talk to other universities. So yes, as a focus, that is a direction we're going in.
Great, thank you.
I do have, sorry.
Please go ahead. Is it Saurabh?
Was me. I do have a quick question, and this follows up on what Emma mentioned about AI and bias. Srividya, you talked a lot about the body language and how the tonality of the interview sounds, and a lot of these investigations have found that people with disabilities or people living in difficult conditions, they might not have the best of these things of, say, the tonality or how they look in a synchronous video, but they could have the knowledge that is fit for the job role. How do you keep that bias aside and just not give the score, which is you're seeing a video, you're analyzing the video based on just the voice and how they're behaving in the video. And by behaving, I mean you mentioned the body language part.
Yeah, thanks, Ivan. I think one of the aspects of why the asynchronous video actually works is it's also at the choice or the convenience of the candidate. So it's not something that you have to do immediately. So for example, if I have a job role that I'm applying to, I upload my resume, I can come back and present to you maybe when I'm, like you said, my environment is better, I'm in a better position to submit the answer. But what we do suggest, for example, is that you complete it within, say, 48 hours or a set time period that we allow the employer to also set. But it's not something that they need to do immediately, but it's also the benefit of the AVI is that it allows the candidate to do that at their convenience, and also helps in that case address some of the concerns that you mentioned, which could be the case for most candidates if they have to do it at a certain time given to them.
Thank you, Srividya and Emma. I'm sorry to cut you off. Just I want to be really careful because we have 3 more people left, and I know there's a ton of follow-up questions for this one, especially with the AI element. I wanted to take really quickly. First of all, Srividya, thank you so much for the presentation and being with us today as well. Before I bring on our next panelist, I wanted to just send a quick reminder to all the judges, if you could be please scoring in real time. So we have those tallies at the end. I think we're going to be cutting it pretty close today, just because there's been a lot of really great follow-up questions from the media panel. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring on our next startup, Esteban Garcia, product manager of Axify.io.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Esteban, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Give me 1 second and I will give you the co-host role, and you can go ahead and present and share your screen.
Okay.
Okay, you should be able to present right now.
Let me see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. I can see you and hear you loud and clear. So whenever you're ready, just go ahead and start.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, as he has said, I am the product manager of Axify. It's a startup from Argentina, a little startup. So first of all, I apologize for my English, but I will try to show you how and why we are improving the way people access their work. Why? Because today we are in an era where technology, data analytics, big data, and smartphones are the kings. We are already having in our hands a powerful tool that has radically changed the way we connect with people, the way we communicate, the way we work, and even it has replaced our wallets with a digital one. However, when we arrive at our office, or maybe at the end of the day, when we are standing at the front door of our homes, we are still doing things as if we were in the Middle Ages. Why? Because we are still using a little piece of steel that we usually call a key. We put that key into a little hole and we turn it right or left to lock or unlock that door to access spaces. In the best scenario, we have maybe a card or a sort of biometric device to manage the access. But it's a strange thing that we had evolved in all aspects of our life, as I had mentioned with our wallet. But when it comes to access control, we are still doing things as we have been doing for a long time. So in Axify, we understood that the access control could evolve, and so we did. We replace and integrate physical credential tokens, cards, and mechanical keys with an easier and faster and more secure way of access. We are a technological platform that integrates a mobile app, a web platform, a physical device to provide a unique and a unique access experience. We make access management easier because we digitalize process, but also we give to managers a way to communicate with the users. We are a B2B company, and we are a software as a service solution that provides an enhanced user experience, a more secure way of access, and we promote a data-driven culture to evolve for a better decision-making process. That's how we are improving the way people access their world. And our vision is to become the access management leading solution in LATAM in the next 5 years. Thank you very much.
All right, fantastic, Esteban, and under time too. So thank you so much for that. We'll go ahead and open up for questions from the media judges. Anybody? Stefano, Michael?
I have a question.
Please.
Obviously, people, I think, would be interested in this, but aren't you going head on into a lot of what I'm quite aware a lot of big tech companies are working on this, or even have some areas like this. And of course, Apple was just trying to turn its iPhone into a wallet. It seems you're going head on into Apple. I'm wondering why you think you're going to have a better solution than some of these giant tech companies that have big resources.
Yes, we know there are a lot of companies, especially in the States and Europe, for example, but our goal is to go for Latin American market. I mean, our solution is to, most of the companies, or some of them, are focused on hardware. They want to give an integral solution, but our goal is the platform. We want to be able to integrate with different platforms, with different systems. For example, if we go to the human resources department of a company, for example, our solution can be integrated with, for example, database from them that says if an employee has the insurance up to date. So we can integrate that and say, okay, this person has an available key to enter the office, and so you can reduce risk. Or maybe, for example, you have an employee that has to work on high voltage grids, and he needs to, he should have taken a course to be able to work on that. And we can cross information with those database of the human resource department to say, okay, this guy has a valid access. So our goal, our strong point is our ability to integrate with different systems that maybe a big company won't be willing to make that with small companies or medium-sized companies.
So, but ultimately, isn't most people are either going to have it seems like it, iPhone, or there's going to be two platforms. It seems like a lot of people are using iPhone or Android, right? Google. Or am I missing something? What other platform are you going to have? Like, it's going to be either on those are going to be those are the two phones that most people are carrying in their pocket, which are going to be the digital wallets. Could you help me understand how?
Yes, this solution, we have hardware, we have an app, and we have a web system, yes? Nowadays, we are a small startup company, and we have achieved an integration with different manufacturers of hardware that are generic hardware. But in the future, as I said before, we are a small company. But we want to integrate with Amazon, we want to integrate with Google, we want to integrate the idea is to have a tool in your hand. You have already your phone, and in that app, you can have, for example, if you use a lock from a top brand, you will be able to use Axify. Why? Because the manager will have in our platform the data and the opportunity to improve the way they manage the spaces and the way they give access and the way they share access in general.
Well, thanks. That would be great if you can do it. Good luck. Thanks.
Sorry, I had
Go ahead,
a
Esther.
follow-up question because I had the same doubt than Michael. Could you tell us some examples where you were already implementing this system so I can get an idea of what's the success that you are talking about? Because yeah, I'm a
Yes.
little bit confused.
For example, I mean, we are focused on LATAM. So LATAM has some particular ways of cultural things. So you can find here in our market different solutions, but they are standalone solutions. So we have maybe near 2,000 users, active users, and now we are finishing a big project in Dominican Republic that is around 1,000 apartments and maybe 4,000 users. And in this solution, that it is a multi-family building, the solution starts from the moment you arrive to the multi-family building, because you can access your parking spot, you can access your front door, the front door of your building, you can access your apartment because you can open your door's apartment. You can go to the swimming pool because you can have in your smartphone the access to the swimming pool. You can share this access with your visitors, with your friends. And with that opportunity, because through our app, the manager can decide if the users of the residents can share access. You can decide that. So that takes some work from them. I mean, the manager now, if he decides that users can share access inside a multi-family building, for example, that is a job that he's not going to do in the future. Or if you use this solution in an office, for example, we have implemented this solution in one of the biggest credit card companies in Argentina. It's called Tarjeta Naranja. And they use our system as a way to give access to the employees, but before giving the access, they check the database if the employees have the insurance up to date. Because if they haven't, if a person that comes to the company and to work there and they haven't the insurance up to date, it's a high risk for them. So this integration, we achieved that with this big company of credit cards in Argentina and with the human resources department from them. And we could integrate with them, and we gave the solution that we enhanced the user experience because we shortened the time they had to see if a guy was able to enter or not the company, and we reduced the risk and the insurance amount they had to pay, because the insurance company knew that they were able to decide or prevent someone enter the company if they hadn't their policy up to date.
Okay.
Perfect, Esteban. Thank you so much for that, Esther. Thank you for, and Michael, for your questions as well. We're going to keep moving on. So Esteban, again, thank you so much for a good presentation. Next up, I'm going to bring on Mike Sukerka, who's the co-founder of Index. Mike, give me 1 second and I'll give you the co-host keys.
Thank you, Jim. Hello, everybody.
You're welcome. Quick PSA for all the judges, if you could continue to judge in time, that would be perfect. Mike, thank you very much for joining us. You should be able to share your screen now.
Just give me 1 second. Sound check. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Awesome. And big. And can you see my screen? It's supposed to have the presentation.
Yep, I can see it and hear you loud and clear. So whenever you're ready, Mike, you go ahead and I'll start the time for you.
Awesome, thank you. Let's go. My name is Mike. I'm from Eastern Europe, and I'm one of the founders at Index. Sending you best regards from the other founder, Sergio, who is also the CEO of the company. The company was founded in 2019, and 3 years ago, there was no COVID, there was no concept of work from home. It was not as popular as it is now. And back in 2019, we've understood a problem that the world was facing. We started from the fact that in Eastern Europe, we have so much talent when it comes to engineering, when it comes to technology, and we were looking to match talented software developers with companies that are looking to boost their software development performance. And if we are to talk about the problem that we are solving at this moment, I want to highlight the fact that there is a lot of time that founders and team leaders are dedicating to hiring. It's not just about hiring, it's also about searching, ranking, matching, prediction, interviewing, scaling, and retaining tech talent. And when it comes to our customers, it's very expensive to hire a wrong talent, and it's also a lot more expensive not to make a hire because time flies and the competition for tech talent is huge. And this is us. This is the platform that we are building and we are performing. It's already the third year on the market, and our goal is to match talented software developers with companies who need that talent. We are looking at fighting and the limitations of geography, location, and any other jurisdictions, etc. We are on the mission to redistribute the tech work and to reduce the brain drain. And this is a journey that we've been on for a long period of time successfully. We are constantly growing and we are super excited about the growth. We are listening to the software developers, to their needs. And these are our customers. This is why these customers chose us. It's about the speed, it's about the time we save to them, and it's also about the retention of the software development talent. The competition is huge for this talent, and it's very important to keep the talent. This is a bit about how it works. I'll be very happy to talk more in detail about it. And the differentiation about us, I'll be able to tell you more about the differentiation about a bit later. Thank you.
Fantastic, Mike. Thank you so much for that. We'll go ahead and open it up. If you guys don't mind, one question comes to mind. I'm wondering have you seen an uptick in Russian tech talent using the platform, as there's kind of been, I read an article in the New York Times today about an exodus of Russian tech talent. Have you seen anything like that on your platform?
Definitely. So one thing that I want to highlight about us is the fact that myself, I'm from Moldova. Moldova being a neighbor of Ukraine and being part of a country that was part of the Soviet Union. There is a lot of Ukrainian software developers who are looking to relocate and to change their software development jobs. Same thing goes for Russian talent. People leaving Russia in huge amount, and there are attempts to restrict them leaving the Russian Federation. People are leaving. People are changing the companies, and this is a historical moment, and we are there. We see it happening, and it's very curious to see how all will go in 5-10 years from now.
Definitely very interesting. Well, I'll go ahead. Please feel free, media judges, if you want to just hop in and ask questions of Mike.
Quick question.
Go
please.
ahead.
It's all yours.
I was just interested in who your actual client is. Is the client the person that has the skill set that's selling it on the marketplace, as in the software developer, or is your client the person who's looking for a software developer, or is your client both?
That's a great question. I'd love to answer in this way. The client is the one who pays, so it's the company, is the customer, he's the customer, but the user is the software developer. And this is the different. Yeah, so this is how it answer.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, and here's my question. Do you have testing built into your business model where, obviously when you're looking for a developer, there's some way of kind of validating their credentials?
That's a great question, and we hear it almost on a daily basis, almost at every meeting that we have with our prospects and customers. So we do pre-vetting. We make sure we communicate with the software developers, and we evaluate their level of English, their personality. We evaluate their experience to see if there are any mismatches. And the testing we prefer to leave for the customer. And let me tell you why. The customer who builds the product, who knows their team, who knows their requirements, is the one to evaluate what specifically they are looking for. They can be looking for a JavaScript talent, and they might have the requirement of doing X, Y, and Z. And themselves, they'll be able to understand who will be the best candidate to do that. And to answer your question, we do the pre-vetting, we do the basic things, but the more in-depth review, we ask our customers to do it, because in the end, it's their decision, and we want to make sure it's a match on both ends. By the way, on both ends, we also want to make sure that the software developer likes the customer, likes the culture in the team, etc.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
So are you like part recruitment company, part kind of Fiverr, part something else? Is that I'm just trying to have my brain make sense of like where you fit in the marketplace, and then it sounds like a niche version of those type of things on a particular skill set, but there is some verification involved as well and a matching. Am I correct in my understanding there?
Let me formulate it this way. We are a platform connecting software developers, so this is the niche part, software developers with customers. Regarding what specifically we are doing, are we a recruitment company? Are we a platform? Are we an agency? So recruitment is definitely part of our business, is the core of our business. But we want to go further than this. This is what feeds our pockets at this moment, us matching it. And in the future, we want to grow, and we are looking forward to automating a lot of processes. We've already automated due to the experience that we've gained for the latest months and years. We've been able to automate a lot of processes, and we're looking forward to the next iterations of the platform that we are currently building. We're working on. And to answer your question, we are in the niche of tech talent. We solve a lot of problems for our customers in the hiring process, but not all of them. And in the future, we want to solve as many more of them. I'm not sure I was able to answer the question, but hopefully it gives more clarity.
Yeah, it feels you've painted a good picture, and it helps me to get a little bit more clear on it. Absolutely. And then you've talked through your funding comes from your clients, the ones that pay, but what is your business model? Is it just through that revenue stream, or are there other revenue streams coming in?
We're self-funded. So that I will redirect the question and I'll be able to answer it in a very simple way. We agree on the customer and the budget, and we also discuss on the software development needs, the software developers requirements when it comes to the desired pay. And what's between is our profit. And we make sure that both parties are happy in order to, and I want to get back to the retention part. The retention is hugely important, and we want to make sure that the software development team of the customer will be intact and will be as autonomous as possible. So hope I was able to answer the question.
Mike, are you already profitable? And what has been your revenue numbers for the past 3 years?
Yeah. So yes, we are profitable, and we've been profitable since one of the third month that we've been on, and this being 2019. We've been able to grow year by year, month by month, doubling, tripling our profits and our revenue. I cannot disclose our revenue at this moment, but we are very comfortable where we are, and we are actually looking to invest, and we are actually looking to expand in the next period of time.
All right, Saurabh, thank you for your question. And
really quick one.
Go ahead.
Is the model scalable? It sounds scalable, but is it scalable in your mind?
Yes, definitely. And that's why we are super excited about this, and we're not looking only about the trend that has happened in the last 3 years. We are also looking in the future, where we will be in 5 years, in 10 years. And we consider lots of variables. And I'm talking about the funds. We're talking about the trust from different companies in this field. We're talking about the fact that there are no borders at this moment when it comes to digital work. And the scalability is huge. We see a couple of 3 directions that we consider going forward. And this is why we're so excited about not only being an intermediate between the talent and the customer, but also building the platform.
Great. Well, thank you, Mike. Congratulations on what you guys have built so far, and also congratulations on a good presentation. We're going to go ahead and bring on our last presenter today. We have Edgardo Jaramillo, is the CEO of Rollback Ally. Edgardo, give me a second here, and I will give you the co-hosting role. All right, and then one quick PSA. Again, I know I'm a bug, but if you wouldn't mind, judges, if we could have all of the scores in by the end of the, this presentation and the question asking, so Eunice can announce the winners, and we'll get everybody out of here. Edgardo, you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yep, we can see you and hear you. So whenever you're ready, sir, just go ahead and we'll start.
Perfect. Well, my name is Edgardo. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Rollback Ally. We are a non-traditional outsourcing company. The name actually means roll back on valuable time spent on day-to-day tasks and processes, as well as cost, and for us to be your ally to help you grow. So we see that there's a big problem today, and me, myself, as an entrepreneur, have been there. When you're an entrepreneur and a business owner, you have to wear all the hats. And it's far too common to see that it's very hard to delegate. And then if you delegate wrong, you're taking 2 steps back, right? So we're seeing this in this industry right now, where it's a huge, complicated market when it comes to staffing. And we need business owners to be able to delegate well. Now, traditional BPOs also offer you more bodies, but that's not solving the issue and the problem. So we like to come in and actually impact that. We want our business owners to not become stagnant. We see that it's very common that business owners just stay small businesses because they can't delegate or delegate well. So that's where we like to come in. We're actually looking for our partners' growth in every way we can. So how do we do that? We first understand your business. So we do discovery sessions and simulations to see if you're actually ready to offload some of this work. And then apart from that, there's a whole company working for you. We're not just a staffing agency. There's a whole company working for you, because we as humans know that there's a competence level that we reach. So if several heads think better than one, and as a company, we're always looking into your growth. Now, the big, value prop that we have is we have a consultative approach. We're very big on data. The day-to-day data that we handle from our clients, we like to chew it up and give it to them in reports. Right now, we're giving them weekly and monthly, not only to validate our work, but also so they can make strong decisions to help them grow their business. And where we want to get at is for them to be able to see it real time. So for them to be able to log into our platform and see the movements of their company. We see that, business owners do not know their ins and outs to a full extent of their own businesses. And we like to, be the ones to provide that with them. At the end of the day, it is their data. We're also moving to an automation of processes. Within your end-to-end process, there's some stuff that could be automated in a way that a human does not have to do it. So we're trying to develop something where a virtual ally, which essentially is a bot, can handle a specific process of yours. Now, most of our allies are in Colombia, and we feel like we're very strong. There's a very strong human talent, very effective when it comes to time zones, amazing connectivity and telephony as well. So what we offer is basically a fixed rate per month per ally, which is a full-time employee. And this includes everything. It includes the whole company working for you, and it includes the data-driven reports that we're giving our clients at the moment. So at the end of the day, we feel like we're very big on human talent. We don't believe on churn and burn. We like to consider our allies as important as our clients. That translates directly into the day-to-day work that they're doing. So that's our business. Thank you.
Awesome. Edgardo, thanks so much. We'll go ahead. I know we're running a little bit over time, so I'll hop right into questions from the media, and then we'll announce the winners. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Edgardo. I think interesting business model, and one that's been tried a lot before, and interesting to see how you may be doing it differently. Could you explain a little bit more around how you're making sure that the outsourcers, so that the employees, I guess, if you want to call them that, are looked after? Because I think as more of this type of work happens, businesses and their customers are also going to make sure that the welfare of the end employee is also front and center as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we like to take care of everything, starting from the selection and hiring process, and we're very big on that. So what we do is we hire allies that work with us to work with our clients, right? So we have a whole team of leaders, account leaders, head of operations, COOs, HR department that are working on a constant base with these allies that work directly with clients, right? So it's not like we're just a staffing company where we find somebody to work with the client. No, it goes through us. We make sure that the ally is, doing everything and having everything they need to be able to provide very efficient work on a day-to-day basis. And that looks into our culture as well. So we try to make these our employees very happy, give them everything they need from, all the equipment necessary to additional benefits. At the end of the day, we believe in make sure that, if you're happy where you're working with, that's going to translate into the work. We have cool things such as, if an ally has to, go to the doctor for a day or take a couple of days off vacation, we have other allies put in place so that our client's operation never stops. That's how, and we're constantly looking over that.
Thanks.
Sure.
Do your allies also get to choose projects? How, to follow Brooke's question, like how are they looking at their benefits, or you look at generic skill set while hiring them into your field?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't get it.
What I meant is, like, when you have allies in your company, do they get to choose the projects that your clients are doing? What I mean by that is you might have a lot of clients and ally might fit in different skills. So do they get to choose the projects, or that's not in their hands?
Yeah, no, it's vice versa. So first we look into our clients. We do these in-depth discovery sessions to actually see, what they need. You might think that you need just a couple of tasks and a process to be done. And then once we ask this full extent of discovery questions, then we really see, okay, what else can we give to you? And then based off of that, we go find the ally that is going to be working for you that fits your needs. It's not just anybody. We try to find somebody either that has experience, maybe in your industry, or with certain characteristics to make sure that, we're finding the best talent that's going to work with you as well.
Okay, cool. Any last questions? Again, thanks, Ivan, for that last question. Any questions for Edgardo before we move on? All right. Edgardo, well, thanks so much. Congrats on what you guys are building as well.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for the time. First off, thank you, everybody, because we're a little bit over time. So I just want to thank everybody for staying with us. Judges, please take this final 30 seconds to finalize the scorecard. My colleague Eunice, she'll be going in and announcing the winners as well. And then we'll get everybody out of here and on with the rest of their day. Before we do that, I just wanted to mention again, my name's Jim from Publicize. If anybody listening in would like any more information, you can contact me at jim@publicize.co or info@publicize.co. Also wanted to mention, hey, this is all about kind of making connections, etc. And so we'll be sure to send information over and contact information over, etc. If anybody wants to kind of keep in touch, definitely recommend you do so. And if you have any other follow-up questions or any other questions that I can answer or any of the media judges can answer as well, I'm happy to forward them as well. Eunice, how are we sitting?
We're ready. So thank you, everyone, especially to the media judges for their great feedback. Thank you to the startups for the great pitches. We're really happy to have you together. And well, we're going to start with the winners, and we're going to start with the third place. And I'm so happy to announce that the third place, the winner is going to be Esteban, the product manager from Acefi.io. So congratulations, Esteban.
All right, Esteban, nice work.
Nice presentation. So moving forward with the second place, I'm pretty excited to announce he's a great pitcher. He did a great presentation. And of course, he and his founder, his co-worker, his peer are doing a great job with the software development industry. So we want to congrats, Mike, the founder of Index, for winning in the second position. So congratulations, Mike.
Awesome, Mike.
Thank you.
Congratulations, man. Nice presentation.
And then I couldn't be even more excited to announce the first place for our lovely Julie and Renee, founders of Gentrail. So congratulations, because you are doing amazing in the startup and offering the life estate planning for everybody. So congratulations for being the winners.
All right. Congrats, Julie, and congrats, Renee. I think they might have had to hop off as well. So we'll be sure to send them an update with that. I really want to take really quick just to thanks again for all of the media judges for joining us today. Really great feedback and questions as well. I really hope we can have you on future Connect events as well. Also want to take the time for the startups. Getting up here is not easy. So congratulations again for even doing it. And also to those that won today. I know we went over. So again, thank you very much for your time and for all the attendees out there that stayed with us. And then a final big thank you to my colleagues, Eunice and Natalia. They put this on all behind
we spend a lot of time working with when we're talking to employers and stuff where first.
Oh, hey, we got Renee. Zach, I think. Renee, congrats. Even the dog's happy. All right. Well, everybody, thanks again. Really appreciate the time, and hopefully we can host you guys again in the future. And then until next time, thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much. We really appreciated it.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, congrats.
Thanks, everyone. Nice job.
Thank you.